Okay, guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kate, and today I'm going to be showing you how I embroider a doll face. And I'm just going to walk you through the whole process, and hopefully by the time I'm done, you'll have a better idea of how you'd like to do yours. And please subscribe because I'm going to be sharing all kinds of cloth doll making information, tutorials, and everything from how to attach yarn hair to how to attach arms that won't fall off. So I hope you'll join me. Let me know in the comments if you decide to subscribe. And yeah, let's get started. So I'm starting with a 6-inch piece of quilting cotton. That's my favorite fabric to use for making cloth dolls. It just doesn't have any stretch, or not very much at least, and it won't distort my embroidery work once I stuff the doll. So now I'm tracing the eyelids with my template, and then I'm going to go in and just use the circles on my template as a guide to make guide points, and I'll just fill in like a connect the dots. And now I'm putting it into my 4-inch embroidery hoop, which I love this embroidery hoop. I will link that below so that you can find it, but it's perfect for this doll face. And I just try to tighten that embroidery hoop and pull the fabric as tight as possible and not have it stretched too much one way or the other. Just try to even out your fabric when you're tightening it. So I separated out 2 embroidery threads out of that bunch, and I knotted one end and threaded it into my embroidery needle. And I'm just starting on the inner corner of the eyelid. I'm starting with an outline stitch for the eyelid. So I'm keeping the stitches pretty small, and then I'm coming back up almost in the same hole as the initial stitch. You can see it's very close. And if you're a beginner, this might take some practice. I wish maybe one of these days I will show you guys my first attempt at embroidering a doll face. It was something to behold, but yes, it's okay to take your time, practice, and give it a few tries, because it definitely took me some time to get this down. But yeah, practice makes perfect. And for this last stitch that we're going to make the eyelash with, we're going to do a fly stitch. So we'll put our needle in at the very end of the eyelash and then come in above the thread at the bottom point of that little dip. And then we'll put it back in right under the thread just to hold it in place. And there we have our first eyelid. Now I'm coming back in at the bottom inner pupil, and I'm just going to do a satin stitch from bottom to top. And my satin stitch tends to shorten a little bit no matter how hard I try, and how gently I tighten that stitch, it just shortens a tiny bit. So I tend to try to come in a little bit below the line when I'm doing a satin stitch. But you'll just have to play it by ear and see how it goes for you. You might not find it necessary, but I definitely have to lengthen my satin stitch a little bit to get it to be the right length. And don't worry too much about making that edge perfect on your circle, because we are going to do another outline stitch around the edge of the circle to put a little eye color in there. So that gives us a little bit of grace when we're doing this satin stitch for the circle. I've really found that embroidery thread has a mind of its own. It will tangle up when you least expect it, and it just likes to get a little loop in there with a knot, and it just looks like you're going to have to start all over again. But I found that if you just put your needle through that loop and give it a little tug, it usually will come out pretty easily. So if you're a beginner embroidering, do not despair. Sometimes you have to start over, but you know, that's life. And there's our first eye. I'm going to turn this over and stick my needle through one of the threads, and then I will pull it through the loop twice. There's once, and then I thread it through a second time and push that knot down just to make sure it's tight and give it a trim. And there we have it, folks. our first embroidered eye. Now I'm going to go over on the other side and just reverse the whole process, or mirror the process, I guess I should say. Starting with an outline stitch, which is actually pretty similar to your stem stitch, but it's all in one line. Oh, and there was a little snag there, but I'm speeding this up just because you've already seen the whole process, and we want to get on to eyebrows and nose and all that stuff. And again, here we're going to do a fly stitch for the little eyelash. And if you want, you can actually add another eyelash with a fly stitch. That's the perfect stitch to make that little dip for the eyelash. And coming in again at the corner of the eye for a satin stitch. For some reason, these eyes make me think of a cat a little bit. But it was just making me think about our cat that just had kittens, and they're so cute. One of them is white but has little tints of orange on its ears, and I've never seen anything like it. It's so cute. I just love kittens. They're so sweet. Now I'm using my template to trace a little dot for the nose, and I'm going to go in again with a fly stitch, just a really shallow fly stitch, to create the nose. I'm very minimalist with my nose. I've just found that it looks more natural on a cloth doll. I don't like to make a nose look too realistic on a cloth doll because it's not really realistic in its essence. I don't know what the right word is, but so I try not to make my cloth doll features look too realistic, or I don't know. It's just a personal preference, but so I'm going with that fly stitch, and then I'll do a disappearing knot. And for some reason I didn't knot it again on the other side, but usually I do, just because I like to make sure all my stitches are secure on a doll that might be played with. And again, I'm using my template to put reference points for the mouth. And then I'll do another dot to dot and fill that smile line in. And you can see how I'm just filling in a little bit of lip that'll be my guide for embroidery. Again, I will be using 2 threads to embroider the mouth, and I'm knotting one end and threading the other. This is the exciting part, y'all. Riveting. And so I'm going in again with an outline stitch. And that's just for the smile line. And as I complete this last stitch, I'll come back up above the thread and then go back down below the thread just to secure that in place. And then I'm doing a satin stitch for the upper lip. So I'm starting at the bottom of the upper lip, and that will widen and then taper off again towards the top of the upper lip. So we've got a wider stitch, I'm filling in a little gap there that I left, and then slightly wider stitch, and now I'll start tapering. So I'll do 2 more stitches, one shorter than the last. And this last stitch is the shortest, and then we'll go down to the bottom lip. And the bottom lip is a little different. We're starting with the widest stitch, and then we'll taper down shorter and shorter as we go. So I usually do about 3 stitches for the bottom lip. Oops, 4. Okay, and I'll just smooth it out a little bit and then tie it off the way I've tied off the other stitches. And I think she's already looking so cute, but she's definitely missing something. Yes, she needs eyebrows. So we're going up 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of the circle of the eye. And then we're going straight up from that inner edge of the circle to make our mark. And same on the other side. 3/4 of an inch from the very bottom of the eye, and then straight up from that inner edge of the circle. And you can make the eyebrow as long as you want. I'm going to make these fairly short, so I'm showing you what point on the eyelid is my guide. But sometimes I make the eyebrows all the way to the edge of the eye. So once again, I'm using 2 threads and I'm starting on the inside of the eyebrow, and that first stitch is going to slope downward just a tiny bit. And I made a mistake here, you guys, because I'm out of the frame. My apologies, but that next stitch is just a little bit inside the first one, and it's a stem stitch. And then we transition to an outline stitch for those last 3 stitches. And that last stitch is going to have a disappearing knot, and I'm backtracking to the last stitch and just pulling that disappearing knot through. And then I'm going to tie it off for extra security and durability. And you can see here I snagged a little loop, and it doesn't really affect anything, so I'm just going to leave it and start in on the other side. I managed to stay in the frame this time, so hopefully you can see a little better what I do here. I've got a slightly downward sloping stitch, and then a stem stitch, and then I switch into an outline stitch. Oh, no, there's another stem stitch. I'm all over the place, you guys. Yes, another stem stitch, and then we start with an outline stitch. So 3 stem stitches, and then 1, we did 2 outline stitches, and then we're backtracking with a disappearing knot and pulling that knot through. And there we have it. We're going to secure that again. And we are all done with that. All we have left now is to add some color to the eyes. So as I said, we're going in on the outer edge of the circle, up in that little corner, with an outline stitch. Very small. And we're going to go all the way around that edge of the eye, almost to the end, but we're going to leave a little space on the inner corner of the eye, and you'll see. And it is so satisfying to add this outline stitch, you guys. It just really cleans up that line around the circle, and it was a lifesaver for me when I first started because my lines were not that clean, and so it definitely helps clean up the whole appearance. And this is my last stitch. You can see how I've left just a little bit of space there before reaching the very end. And then I'm going to tie it off with a, oh, okay, one more stitch. I'm ahead of myself. There's still a tiny space there before you get to the very end. And I don't know why I leave that little space, because it just looks right to me. When I go all the way to the end, it just doesn't look right. I can't explain it. It's just instinct for me. So if you want to go to the end, go for it. That's definitely going to boil down to personal preference. But I did a disappearing knot, and I'm going to secure that in the usual way. And I'm speeding it up for you guys, but we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. An outline stitch just around the edge of that eye, and I just wanted to add that I pull this stitch pretty tight, tighter than I normally would. It just makes for a cleaner, neater stitch to outline that eye. And you can see how I've stopped just short of that inner edge, and I'm doing a disappearing knot again. And there she is, folks, all done, and I just love how it turned out. This is going to go with a doll making series, and so this will be the first video in my Lily Bell doll and Amelia doll tutorials, which are coming soon. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you next time.